Hello, everybody, and welcome to lesson 6 of Ava, the WhatsApp agent. This lesson is actually the last one, and by the end of it, you're going to be able to communicate or to talk with your agent via WhatsApp. And for that, we are going to just do a couple of things. So this lesson is going to be quite short. So firstly, we are going to be looking at this diagram that I have prepared, in which I will explain you more or less how WhatsApp Cloud works and how WhatsApp uses webhooks to actually communicate with your API, because actually Ava is being served by an API. I'm going to explain you just a little bit about that later. Also, by showing you the code, everything is going to be very, very clear. And also something that I will show you how to do is how you actually need to set everything up in the developers Facebook app, and by just following everything that I'm going to show you in this video, you're going to be able to just replicate it and just set it up for yourself very, very easily. So let's start then by looking at this simple diagram that I have prepared. And in this diagram, I just want to show you, I want you to understand how WhatsApp intermediates in this whole connection, right? In how you talk via WhatsApp with the agent. So what we have here, starting from the top, is just a user. So that could be you via WhatsApp, via your phone. You're going to be sending a message to WhatsApp, and then WhatsApp is just going to call, or it's going to send a request to the application. And this whole thing that I just explained, right? So a message comes and then an HTTP request is triggered. So that is actually called a webhook. So a webhook is just an HTTP call that is triggered by an event. So in the case of the WhatsApp webhook, that event is the message that arrives from the user. And now this HTTP request has to be received by an API, right? And what we have here is just an explanation, like very brief or very simple explanation of or visualization of how we have set it up. So what we have is Ava, that is a Python application that is actually served via an API. We use a fast API for it, just to expose an endpoint. I think we call it WhatsApp webhook, that then can receive this HTTP request, and then it just decomposes, use all the arguments. Although that would be, or the important one would be the message from the user, which user, right, or which phone number. And then it's going to be using all these different services that we have discussed and touched in the previous lessons. So Quadrant for the memory, for the long-term memory, ngrok for all the inference, 11 Labs for the generation of the voice, Together AI for the generation of the image. So once we have used all these elements, we will send back an HTTP response that would be received by the WhatsApp cloud, and then an AI message, right, or the message from the chatbot or Ava will be received by the user. So that would be me, and that is really all, right? So again, right, a webhook is just an HTTP call that is triggered by an event, and in the case of WhatsApp, that is a user message. And something here that I haven't touched on is, well, these two things. So I've already said that we have an API that is a Python process. We know about LangGraph, right? LangGraph is the brain, the graph that actually just decides what to do, right? So that is the agency of Ava, or of our system. And also what we have here is just the symbol of Docker, because we have Dockerized this image. You're going to be able to look that up in the GitHub repository. You have everything. I'm also going to show you a bit later just the code, but yeah, the application is containerized so that it is easily deployed on any cloud provider. So actually we went for a Google Cloud Run, and Miguel in his newsletter, which again is also linked down below, is going to give you a really good overview of how to set it up. But in this video, instead of just deploying everything on a cloud provider, which will take a long time, instead I'm going to be using ngrok, which, if you don't know, is an amazing, super useful tool for testing purposes. I think so you wouldn't be used in production environments, but for testing is really good, because what it does, it provides a public URL for you to test your local web server, and it does it by just creating a tunnel from your local API, right? So maybe this is still not very clear, but once I show you that running in the code, everything is gonna make much more sense. So now, in order for you to actually be able to communicate via WhatsApp with your agent, you have to do two things. So first of all is for you to have your API running, so your fast API running and exposed via HTTPS. This is going to be done locally via Docker. So right now the repo is just super simple. You just need to do Docker compose app. And then with ngrok, we are going to expose the port of the API. I'm going to show you that in a second. And secondly, you have to configure the webhook via this website, developersfacebook.com. I'm going to show you again. So I'm going to show you that in a second as well. And you just need to configure this webhook to be pointing at the URL that you're going to get by using ngrok. So let's jump into it and you're going to see how easy it is. So this is the GitHub repo of AI Companion. So this is just the repo that I've been showing you always. And here what we have is under interfaces, we have WhatsApp and we have the WhatsApp endpoint, which is just simply how or where we instantiate the fast API class. And then we include a router with the WhatsApp router. And if we go here, it's just simply an API router, which has just a single endpoint that we have here, which is the WhatsApp handler. And we actually call this endpoint WhatsApp response, and it accepts the methods get and post. And this is just where we define the whole logic. It is not very difficult, so you can have a look at it. So you can have a look into it just by checking the repo, which is in the description below. But maybe one of the methods that we can have a quick look at is going to be the send response, right? So this is the method that we use to send the response to the user via the WhatsApp API. And this WhatsApp API is just simply just a URL, right? So this is graph facebook.com. So this is version 21. And here we have to say so to which phone number. So this phone number, we can get it from developers Facebook, and WhatsApp actually provides a free test number for you. I think, that you can just use it, I think, indefinitely, but again, only for testing purposes. And then in production, you will need to buy a phone and just set it up, but that should be very, very simple. And then you use the messages endpoint, and here you send the headers and the JSON data. And this JSON data would just have the response text, and actually we don't need these prints anymore. I think this was just for debugging at some point. And then the other thing that is important, of course, to know is just the headers. In the headers, we also have the authorization. So the authorization, which is just a token. So I'm going to show you now how you can get this token. And with this token and the appropriate phone number, only with those two things, you will be able to just get this piece of code from the repo, and then you will be able just to run it because it's really very simple. So now that we have processed everything, we have gone ourselves through the WhatsApp documentation, and now everything is just in a very tidy and well documented Python file. So you will see that it's very simple to use and just adapt it to your own agent. So this file is the only one that you have to actually just review to understand the WhatsApp logic. Again, super simple. And now you just need to do Docker compose app and maybe -d just to have it in the background. So for that, we just are instantiating or starting all the servers, and this shouldn't take too much. Okay, good. Now we have seen that the 3 services are already up and running. So locally, we instantiate a Quadrant server via just the Docker image. We also have a Chainlit user interface for you to be able to just chat with Ava via Chainlit, so I use a web interface. And also, of course, we have the WhatsApp API running. And now for us to be able to see which port is being exposed, we can just have a look at it here, which is the WhatsApp service. We have the port 8080. So this is the port that we want to expose via ngrok. And we do that by just using the ngrok command, which is ngrok. Okay, and we have it here. So ngrok http Now you select the domain that you have, or that your user account is gonna have, and then you select the port, so that is 8080. So if we click enter, we can see here the tunnel being done, right? So we can see here that ngrok is exposing this domain, and this is actually tunneling our localhost 8080. So now this is working. Let's just have a look at developers Facebook. And now the second thing, which is to configure that webhook to be looking, or to be pointing at this ngrok URL that we now have. So you should go to developers.facebook.com. So once you're here, you should go on the corner here, you should click on My Apps, which is going to bring you to this view. So here you're going to be able to see all your apps. Of course, if you haven't created an app, so if this is your first time, you have to click on this bottom, create an app, and just complete a couple of details about the app name and so on. So this will take little. So in my case, I already have that created, so I can just go into AI Companion, which takes me to this site. Okay, so here I can see the AI Companion app, and here I already have configured WhatsApp, and this is where you want to go. So you have to go to WhatsApp, and then you have two important things. So you have the API setup, and then the configuration. So let me just briefly tell you what are the important things here in the API setup. So of course, one of the most important things is what we have here on top, which is the access token that we said before, that we need that for actually be able to authorize the communication. So you can just create or generate an access token. So you have to log in or re-log in or re-authorize. So once you have it, you can just copy that, and then you can just paste it on the .env file in your repo. But also here you have another thing which is actually quite nice. So before actually setting up the WhatsApp webhook, you can just test if you can receive a message from this test number. So this is something that I usually like to do. So you have here the test number that has been provided by WhatsApp for you to test this application. And also here you have the two. So it's in the two where you want to set up your phone. So let me just put mine. And what you have here now is that HTTP post method that we have to, or that we are integrating as well in our application, but this is just with kind of like a hello world. So we can just send this message, and now we can check in WhatsApp if we actually have received it. Okay, so this is Ava and my conversation with her. And yes, indeed, I have received the hello world message. So then this is set up, this is good. Now the next thing that we have to set up is just the webhook. So for that, you can click on configure webhooks here, or in configuration, it's just the same thing, which takes us to this side. And here just a couple of things that are important. You have to make sure that the messages endpoint, or how they call it, the message field, is enabled. So you are subscribed to this one. So the version really 21, 22 doesn't matter. I guess the 22 is just a recent one. And something else that you want to do in production is you want to set a permanent token, but just for now, right, we are testing the token that we generated before. That suffices. And here we have the callback URL. So this is the ngrok URL that we were getting from before, right? You remember this URL? So it's just this one, plus also / WhatsApp response, which is the endpoint that we created, right? And then also another thing that you have is just the very first time that you set this up, you want to set up verify token. So this could be just a random string, so it doesn't matter. So this is just to verify the connection the very first time. And actually we have that in the code already. So you'll see that part of the code used in WhatsApp response here, if get. So here we just have the verify token. So in the same way, you also have to set it up in the .env. So let me just open .env.example, which is a template for you to just put all the API keys and all the environment variables that you need. So here, the WhatsApp verify token, that would be just that string that you have to set up. Then the WhatsApp token, that is actually the access token. So this is the important one, the long one. And then the WhatsApp phone number ID, which I think I haven't told you what it is. So let me just show you. WhatsApp phone ID, that is this ID, right? So we have the test number, which is actually the number that you would use in WhatsApp to text this the agent, and also here what you have is the ID. So you would just want to copy this one, right, and just put in your .env ID. The verified token, that would be something that, again, you can just put whatever you want. So that could be something like, for example, Ava agent, doesn't matter, but you have to put the same one in the verified token. Once set up the verified token, you can just click verify and save. This is gonna set it up, but in my case, I have already verified this connection, so I don't need to do that. And now, and also, of course, the other thing that you need is, again, the token. That is a token that it generates. I think it lasts only 2 hours unless you create a permanent one. So once you create it here, you can just copy it, go to your IDE, and just paste it, right? So not in the .dov example. So this is just an example. You would need to put that in the .env. So I'll do it myself. Okay, I've just updated the WhatsApp token also in my .env file. So something that I wanna do is restart the services, because I want to take the last the last version of the .env. So for that we have to docker compose app and docker compose app and docker compose app again, restart it. So that is now started and running again. So now I should be able to talk with Ava via WhatsApp. So let me just say hello you, and there we get the answer, right? So, hey Jesus, what's up? Didn't expect to hear from you so soon. Good. And also she remembers my name, right? Because we have this long-term memory, and she remembers my name, which is crazy. So yeah, it worked well. So now I should be able to just to have a conversation with Ava like always, and it's just working. Okay, and that concluded this lesson, and actually the course as well. So it's been 6 weeks, 6 lessons with a lot of information and I think a lot of value. So we really hope that you enjoy this course, that you learn a lot of things. And I would love to see in the comments below what are the projects that you want to build or that you are going to build now that you have learned all these things. I would really like to hear from you. And of course, if you like this kind of content, if you want to be updated in everything that is happening in the field of AI, just remember to subscribe to my channel and also give it a like. I would actually appreciate that a lot. And yeah, that will be all. Bye bye. See you in another one.